Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. The 13th session, we pray to Bhagavan. We invoke the grace of Lord as well as our Gurus to have this session, the culmination session, in the best manner that it is possible. We have been speaking about Vedanta. Vedanta has principally three broad subjects. The first, who am I, or who we are. The second, what is this world which envelops us, which is surrounding us? And the third, who is it, or who is that, or what is the truth behind this entire world, and what is the interrelationship of it and this world and us. In the first aspect of this who am I, first section of it is called the adhikari, the qualified student. So the first topic that we are covering is the adhikari. Who is the qualified student for this knowledge? The Shastra itself announces the one endowed with sadhana chatushtaya, meaning the person who is endowed with the fourfold qualifications. What are the fourfold qualifications? We have been listening about it, we've been studying about it. I'm sure many from y'all have been reflecting on these. They are viveka, the discrimination or distinction between the permanent and the impermanent. We use this faculty of discrimination for a lot of things. But Shastra says this faculty is got to be used for this purpose, to distinguish between the permanent and the impermanent. The second, viraga, dispassion towards enjoying the fruits of action, meaning being fulfilled with what we do rather than what we get. Then comes the third aspect, the Shamadhi, Shadasampatti. They are also called as Shamadhi, Sadhana Sampatti. The first one, Sama. quietude of mind, meaning not to get provoked, not to be provoked by anyone or anything. Such a control of mind that let it be any medium coming from outside, it should not disturb your mind, or any thought that erupts in your mind. Your mind should be focused and relaxed. Sama. Dhamma, the mastery over senses. For whatever reason, if the mind is not under control, the irritation of the mind, the disturbance of the mind should not be exposed or expressed in the physical form. To control that external expression, what the mind is wanting to express, is Dhamma. Sama, Dhamma. When Sama and Dhamma become natural, effortless withdrawal happens, meaning the mind must not only be withdrawn from the outer world, but it also is required to be put somewhere positive. Just like a tortoise, he withdraws all its limbs when it senses danger. Just withdraws inside and it just becomes a stone. Effortlessly it does. Also, just like an alert student who at the time of examination withdraws his mind from all entertainments, movies, games, etc. But what does he do? He uses that withdrawn mind to study. He puts it into a positive utilization. This positive utilization is called samadhan. You see, sama and dhamma, they go together. Uparama, withdrawal, and samadhan go together. So not only withdrawal but utilization. Therefore, the another explanation of Uparama is also performing your duties to the best of your abilities. And between this Sama to Samadhan, there are two more, Titiksha and Shraddha. Titiksha is that cheerful acceptance of the pinpricks of life, as Gurudev has put it. About Titiksha, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, one who is endowed with this ability becomes fit to liberation. He becomes fit for liberation. Not to be disbalanced due to non-conducive situation. When we sit and think backwards, what are those things which disturb our mind? They are always non-conducive things, situations. This is the time when we use Titiksha. Finally, what to speak about Shraddha? The Shastra itself has said, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, meaning only one with this ability of faith receives knowledge. Faith, in the words of the Master, the Guru, the scriptures, Vedanta, and Ishvara, the Lord Almighty. In this way, the sixfold wealth are concluded. The sixth aspect, Samadhan, absorption, means what? Single pointed focus on the goal. This is that state of mind which, keeping the same goal in the sight, and reaches the goal. So, how does it start? Where does it start from? A controlled mind and also the senses. Sama, Dhamma. What it does? Effortlessly withdraws the chase of unnecessary worldly goals, meaning all the unessentials are moved away. Mind remains focused. This focused mind keeps to his duty in life is Uparama. Naturally, to achieve a goal, to reach somewhere, we understand there will be troubles, there will be pinpricks in life. To bear that. Why? Our goal is more important. Diksha. That follows with a faithful following of the path shown by the Guru, pointed out by the Guru and the Shastra, is Shraddha. What is the result? Resultant is the absorption of the mind in the self. This is Samadhana. We have concluded till this point. So Viveka, Vairagya and the Shadasampatti. Now comes Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam or Mumukshuta, the motivating factor, the motivating force. Every single session we started with an invocation. What is invocation? It is invoking the grace of the Lord, of the Guru. Because it is the Lord's grace alone that one gets this thought that may I know the truth. Or in other words, what is that which is behind the entire animate and inanimate world? This thought is a very rare thought. Not all get it so easily. Again, it is with the blessings, the grace of the Lord alone that one meets the Guru as well. So to speak, we may have met so many knowledgeable people in our life. So many masters also you may have come across. Yet we don't feel that affinity towards them, or our questions are unanswered. But when the Lord wills, due to our consistent pursuit to the truth, to know the truth, in other words, to know him, her, it, whatever you call it, then our Guru is presented in front. In the previous sessions I have spoken about this, that your free will gets your prarabdha. Prarabdha, destiny. Your destiny is a result of your own free will. The consistent pursuit of this knowledge, of this truth, not only in this life, but in the many lives that we have spent before. We can't go in search of our Guru. We would never find one unless the Guru presents in front of us by himself. This happens not just by any chance, but our own free will and the punya karmas of our past lives. What is punya karma? The word means, punya means noble, karma means deed. By noble deeds that we had performed and a consistent search. That search has to be consistent. Just as the rule of the world, if you don't desire something your own self, by your own self, if I don't desire something with my own deep own sense, you won't value having it, even if it may be rarest of the rare thing. Whatever it may be, if you don't desire, somebody has just given it to you, it may be the most expensive thing, most beautiful thing, you may have it, it's very nice, but it will be staying at home. Similarly, in the case of Brahma Vidya or Brahma Jnana, Brahma Vidya, the study of truth, Brahma Jnana, the knowledge of the truth, and simultaneously Atma Vidya, the study of the self, Atma Jnana, the knowledge of the self. See, the knowledge of the truth and the knowledge of the self are at the same par. One has to have the desire, an intense desire to have it, to want it. And it must be an ati tivra ichha. What is ati tivra ichha meaning? Very intense desire. Only then one gets this knowledge. This tivra ichha, very intense desire, arises in one's when one starts seeing the faults in the form of bondages and sorrows, in pain and dejections, in the incompleteness of this world. This tivra iksha only then rises. So, if there is a tivra iksha or a burning desire, is there any other kind of desires in this fashion, in this thought? Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutva are of 4 types. One may have the desire that, I should have knowledge, I should have this knowledge. But it may be very dull. It is called ati manda. If one gets liberated, the feeling of the person is like that. If I get liberated, well and good. Otherwise, better luck next time. This type cannot be said to have or possess a true kind of mumukshutvam. Means what? Example. Somebody knows that yes, to live well in this world, we need to earn wealth, and with that wealth we will be able to live a very good and better life. But instead of going out in the world and working hard towards earning the wealth, he waits. He waits for what? For that aunt to die, so that the aunt's wealth can come to him. Hereditary. And sometimes it is seen like that. The aunt lives for hundreds of years, and the person who was waiting for the aunt to die dies before. So it's not that he or she doesn't have that desire or knowledge that yes, wealth is required. He's not making any effort. There is no effort behind it. This is called ati manda, very dull. There is mumukshutvam, but very dull. The second kind is the dull or mand. I must seek liberation or the truth, but after retirement. What is my age now? It's my age to be, roaming around and seeing the world and climbing mountains and running around and having 1 wife and 2 wives and 10 wives and having children and having wealth and having 1 house and of course this knowledge is required. But after my worldly responsibilities are over. Means what? A person who is interested in this knowledge but has other important things to do. The third, madhyama. Now in this case, the person has a stronger desire. I must get liberated as soon as possible. The feeling is I must get liberated as soon as possible. The sooner the better. Now I am studying. So obviously, if I am studying, I am going to get it. So let me keep studying and I will get it. Means what? He is focused on the study of gaining the knowledge, but he has no burning desire. What is called burning desire? It is called tivra or strong. I want freedom here and now. I want freedom from the bondage here and now. Every single day that I sit, this is that day when I am going to be realized. I am gaining this knowledge now. This fourth kind is called intense desire. The intensity is like a man who seeks air when he is drowning. That intensity. That no more. If somebody is drowning, what is the requirement he has? Do you think he's thinking of gold? Do you think he's thinking of cars? Do you think he's thinking of anything else but the one breath? That is called tivra or strong desire of mumukshutvam. One with a strong mumukshutvam reaches the goal. All other qualities are easily to acquire. All other qualities are easily to acquire. But this one thing, this is a quality. Is it a quality? No. It is a desire. It is a desire. Now, summer, mind control. Yes, with discipline, with practice, you will get mind control. Dhamma, sense control. With rigorous training of the body, we have seen beautiful dancing. How their hand move. They move exactly according to how they want it. How is that? Because of practice. So their body is also coming under control. But how will anybody create a desire in you? It is impossible for somebody else to create a desire into somebody. Therefore, having Mumukshutvam has to arise from inside. We can teach our minds all the sense and the mind and the sense control to be under control. But we can't make the mind desire to want something. You yourself cannot do it. We ourselves cannot do it. To want something so much that without it, you would not survive. A few more examples of that burning desire. In the south of India, in Kerala, there was this great Swami. We called him Chittambi Swamigal. He was a great martial artist and he had tremendous strength and he was spiritually enlightened also. And in the way when he was reaching there, he had gained some siddhis. Siddhis means supernatural powers, or at least people thought he had supernatural powers. One of a person who was very greedy minded, he came to know that, you know what, Swamigal has that power. When he touches iron, it becomes cold. So if I become his best student, he will teach me that. I will learn it from him and then there's no stopping me. With this intention behind his mind, he joined the ashram. He started serving the master. He started listening to the talks and everything. Not that Swami didn't know the intention behind him. At a point in time, Swamigal told him, so, what is your desire? He said, no, there is no such thing. I don't want anything. He said, okay. But I have felt, the Swami says, that you wish to know that knowledge by which touching iron it becomes cold. Oh Swamiji, you are Antaryami, you know inside and outside of everyone. Yes, please teach me that kind of knowledge. I said, okay, come. He said, what? Today itself? Not today, just now. Let's go. He said, okay, let's go. He follows the Swami. Swami takes him into the river up to this deep. Now he thinks, oh, Swami is going to first baptize me and then give me that knowledge. His life was made. If you remember, I told you this Swamigal was not just any Swami. He was a great martial artist, strong-bodied person. The Swami held his neck from behind and put his head inside the water, straight inside, and held him there. A minute passed, a minute and a half passed, 2 minutes passed, and this person started shaking inside, getting his head slightly outside, only where the ear is outside. He said, so, do you want to learn how to know how to make gold out of iron? I can teach you. Tell me. And he pushed him inside again. And again for a minute or so, you are shaking. And then he called him out. Yes. He said, no, I don't want anything. Just let me go. Swamigal removed him out and kept him there. He said, now, tell me. So, no, Swami, forgive me. I don't want anything else. I just want to live. I want to live. And he ran away from there, never came back. In the Bengal, west of Bengal, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa, the guru of Swami Vivekananda, he actually experienced this once. A student came in front of him. On the first day itself, he said, Swamiji, I want moksha. Swamiji said, come tomorrow. He again came next day. Swamiji, I want moksha. He said, okay, come tomorrow. Like this, 7 days passed. On the 8th day, he stood in front of the Swami and he said, Swami, you better tell me whether you can give me moksha or not. If you cannot, then I'll not waste my time. I'll go to another guru. Swami said, oh, we'll do one thing. Let's go to the river. I'll give you the knowledge just now. And Swami did the same thing. At that time, when he was pulling him out for the third time, he said, no, I don't want any knowledge. I just want air. The story meaning is, you may have heard about moksha. You may have heard that human beings are bound, that we should be liberated. And then a feeling may have come into you that yes, I also want this, but that may not be a deep-rooted feeling, a real feeling which you really want to achieve. One more beautiful example from the Shastra itself. We've all heard, most of us have heard, Bhakta Prahlad. Bhakta Prahlad, we always know about his younghood story when he was a child, that he, to protect him, Lord Vishnu himself came in the Narasimha avatar, in the terrible avatar. But this child, he became a king. And then he became a very benevolent king. He loved his subjects like his own children. And he was most dear to Bhagwan. A point in time came where Bhagwan Vishnu himself came to Prahlad and said, my dear disciple, I am so pleased and your knowledge is perfect. Come, let us go to Moksha. King Prahlad said, no, oh Lord, I can't do that. Bhagwan Narayan said, what? This is the first time that I'm experiencing that such a great devotee of mine is saying no. Why? What is the reason? He says that if I go with you alone, what will happen to my subjects? They are like my children. I can't leave them like that. He said, okay, what is your wish? Prahlad said, I have just one wish then. He said, God said, whatever you wish, I am ready to give you. Prahlad said, Lord, first listen to me what I'm saying. No. Done. What you are saying, done. Whatever you will ask, I will give you. He said, Lord, when you take me with you to Moksha, I want all my citizens to come with me for Moksha. He said, Tathastu, done. Given. He said, really? He said, yes, you are my favorite. Done. You have such a fantastic feeling in you of reaching that goal, not only by yourself, but with everyone. Done. Given. He said, very good. So God, give me few days, I will go, and you have to market yourself, right? You have to tell everyone that we have to all go together to a beautiful place which is called Moksha, and we have to reach there and be there. So what Prahlad did? He went to his people, and it was very democratic. There was no order given. He went and propagated this knowledge to everyone. He said, listen, all my fellow people, my brothers, we are all going to go to the abode of Lord. We are all going to get moksha. So the next time when we come, I want all of you all to join me for this. One person raised the hand and he said, and excuse me, sire, what about my daughter's marriage? He said, daughter's marriage? I mean, even she is going to come. Yeah. But you see, if she is not married, then, she will not experience what real life is. So please excuse me, let me finish this job and then we will think of doing it. The another one said, sire, tell me one thing, yeah. Do we get coffee over there? It is such a brilliant thing that you will never need coffee. No, that is not the point. Do we get coffee? The point was, the wish, the desire was not in them. They didn't have the desire. Why does this happen? What is that this feeling does not occur into everybody? What is it? Mumukshutvam. What is it that it doesn't happen? What is Mumukshutvam? Mumukshutvam means the desire to be free from bondage. But what can be done to someone who is not aware of this bondage? Who is not aware of this bondage? Or one who is aware of this bondage but is happy. He said, no, it's okay. I'm bound, no problem, that's fine. I'm happy with what I have. Therefore, all freedom struggles first started with educating the masses about the slavery, about the bondage that they are, the great Lokmanya Tilak, all Indians know him, the great freedom fighter of India. He awakened this feeling in Indians in the 18th century. He said, Swarajya is my birthright and I shall take it. The British, the mighty British, had never heard anyone being so commanding that an entire nation was awakened. This was because Tilakji was speaking the truth. A wave of understanding so strong rose in the hearts of all Indians, they now felt bound that yes, these handful of foreigners have been ruling over us. And only after the real struggle, after this realization, that we Indians achieved freedom. The freedom struggle only started after this understanding that, oh, I am bound. In the same way, the Guru, the Shastra are awakening this feeling in us that look, you are bound. What am I bound to? Bound to your habits, bound to your smallness of mind, bound to your greed, to your attachments in life. The Shastras proclaim Tattvamasi. The greatest statements of the Upanishad implores us that thou art. You are the infinite truth, what we call as Brahman, which is the nature of Sat, existence, Chit, consciousness, and Ananda, bliss, the truth behind the animate and the inanimate, behind the effects that we see in the world, as well as behind the cause of all the things. It is the causeless cause. What is required? Just arise and awake. Therefore, having an intense desire for moksha, liberation from bondage, is the motivating factor. Shastra says we all have it in small degrees, but by striving to become fit student and acquire the fourfold qualifications, what are the four? Viveka, Vairagya, Sama, Dhamma, Darshana Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. One creates an environment in which one is sure to reach the goal of moksha. This is the fourfold qualification, after which they, the students, become fit for inquiry into the truth. This is Tattva Bodha. Tattva Bodha. The first section ends here. This section was called as Sadhana Chatushtaya Adhikari. The focus was on making a student understand what are the requirements for embarking this journey. To know the truth, what are you supposed to arm yourself with? When one wants to shoot a target, one starts preparing a rifle, a gun, an equipment. That equipment, that gun should be cleaned and oiled so that all the parts work effortlessly and smoothly with each other. And only then the bullet is placed. Thereafter, one completely puts the mind on the target and then the trigger is pulled. In the same way, till such time that the mind is not prepared with the fourfold qualification, it does not lift the mind to inquire into the truth. The inquiry should come from within. Mumukshutvam should happen from within. If one is forced to think in this manner, if he is forced one will not inquire wholeheartedly and therefore not reach the truth. If the mind is unprepared, then even if one hears this knowledge, it may seem theoretical and abstract, or simply he or she won't understand. Even if one appreciates it intellectually, he or she will not be able to reflect on it, leave alone, abide in it. Just recently, Guruji gave a beautiful example of why Shastra has given this sadhana chatushtaya. Just as when we become unwell, when we go to a doctor, he says, okay, I understand, please go and get a pathology report of your blood. And then we have the report in our hand. And then we see, oh, hemoglobin is less. Then what happens is suddenly our mind goes to what are the things that we should take that will increase the hemoglobin. Oh, you see, the white blood corpuscles have become too many. If it is too much white blood corpuscle, it is not good. What steps should I take so that those things become less? In other words, sadhana chatushtaya is like a report in front of you. The degrees you have to fill. Viveka. Yeah, I think Viveka is slightly less. What is to be done to increase the Viveka? Vairagya. I think Vairagya I have. I have complete dispassion towards this knowledge. So, I am already relieved with one thing. I don't want this knowledge, so I have complete dispassion. But I have this feeling that I should know the truth. So, if I need to know the truth, I have to go to those subjects which teach this. That is Vedanta. And Vedanta itself tells that you should have Viveka and Vairagya. Maybe I can't have Vairagya from this knowledge. I should focus on Viveka again. You see what happens? Your mind starts churning when there is something in front of you. So, in the next few weeks and months, keep this chart in front of you and perform all your duties and then come back and check. Did I use Viveka? How much percentage I used Viveka? How much do I have? How much I want more? Use the Shadasampatti. Do I have faith? How much faith I have? Do I have that burning desire, Mumukshutvam? It's not coming. What should I do? The list is in front of you. That this will increase. In this way, we take a Madhya Viram today. As such, we have concluded the topic today. This topic of an adhikari. In the next session, the last session, we are going to have practical application, just a little tips here and there on how we can follow sadhana chatushtaya, how we can move ahead in our spiritual life, so that what kind of steps we take so that we are staying on the path, and not only staying but moving in the direction. Also, one very important thing is, if we have known how a student has to be, don't you think we should know how a guru should be? What are the qualifications of a guru? These two things we will discuss, and of course we'll have question and answers in the next session, where y'all should have, if y'all have questions, you can ask me, we can discuss it. But even I have few questions which I will be asking y'all. So in the next session, it's going to be a fun session. We are all going to interact. We'll all come on the screen. We'll keep the screen on so that we can see each other all the time. And then we will take 3 months break so that we can reflect on what we have studied. We can practice on what we are weak. We can stay abiding on what we are strong in and move ahead in the spiritual path. With this, let me take a Madhya Viram and kindly join me for the Om Smaran, and in thanking Bhagwan, that is Ishwar, thanking Lord, thanking our Gurus, thanking our parents for this beautiful interactions that we have had. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.